it was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Don't be like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
My name is Lonwabo Yelani and I'm doing grade 12. 18 years old this year and I live here in Crossroads.
My name is Esitum Kole and I'm turning 17 this year. I'm doing grade 10 and I live in Nyanga East.
My name is Sinetemba. I'm soon turning 18. I'm doing grade 12. I live in Unati location.
Hi, my name is Abulele Msutwana. I am 14 this year and I'm doing grade 9. I live in Crossroads.
My name is Sondile Bam. I'm 18 years old. I'm currently doing grade 12. I live in Mandalay.
Hi, I'm Asi Ventilashe. I'm doing grade 9. I'm 16 years old. I live in Nyanga East.
It was an early morning. I had just come into the school and at first I heard screaming and then I turned my head back and I saw 3 guys ganging up on Anel and they stabbed him and he tried to run but he couldn't and they stabbed him to death when they found him.
It was very horrific to see your young children were running around like we never saw this incident happening in our lives.
Even the teachers in the assembly, actually it was Thursday, the incident happened Thursday. And then on Monday, the teachers were telling us about exactly what happened. I didn't I didn't see it happen. But then I know the guy who was stabbed and then it was kind of a sad story.
I was traumatized. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat because the guy was practically close to me because we're close friends.
And it has also affected the teachers because last year we had a teacher who left the school for like 3 months. She came back now during January. She was very traumatized.
The fact that Anele died at our school, it still lives in us because even when we enter still his classroom, there's that thing that we're going to see him staying there on his chair or we're going to see him bouncing at us at our back. It still lives with us that maybe one day he'll just come and say, hello guys, I'm back. The fact that we did see him lying down bleeding to death, it's still in our mind. It will never be taken away.
So violence, according to us, it's like something which we live with and something which we have tried to accept. But now, in our moving forward about violence, we are trying to forget all the things which have happened, as they included that Anele died just last year, and then they forget all about that, only trying to move on.
I, as a person here who lives in Crossroads, I cannot enter KTC because the gang here is against the gang in KTC.
It's actually like violating the right to movement because we can't freely move to our beautiful township. We can't move anymore because we always live in fear. It's blood all over and it's happening and we get affected and we see what happens, the consequences. They're obvious to the people we love. For example, as Funile mentioned, one of the teachers who was taken out of the school for about 3 months, that was my teacher, producing 99% result. But because of violence, we lost teacher, we lost our friends.
Now it's no longer safe for our school because now they can jump the fence. Like they were spotted recently last week, the 2 boys were spotted who jumped the fence wearing the uniform to finish their mission, and now we have to stay inside the school. Now we have freedom of movement that we don't have at our school because of such people who have those dreams for themselves.
A school is a place where you're supposed to be safe, but it's not safe anymore because of all these gangs. You don't know what could happen any minute now.
Even in our homes, our seats, our possessions and belongings are no longer safe. They come, you're sleeping, the whole family is sleeping. And I think there's this portion that they use so that the family can sleep when they come in at homes. It happens. It's been happening a lot in my community, and that's what happens. They take everything from the wardrobe, furniture, everything, and I think the councillor is trying to work with that because there are people now who are patrolling.
Some of the gangs did finish their school and they did not have this money to go to varsity or even getting a bursary. So the only best easy way was for them to still being involved in thieves, and all of that stuff. It revolves around the government. He's the one responsible for all each and everything that is happening to our community.
That's not the reason, because what is happening, let's take for instance, what do they do with the money they get? It's actually spent on drugs. It's not invested in education. So that's...
And actually most people who are involved in gangs are people who are very privileged, people who get everything from their families, and then they don't use that opportunity, but they have to go and take from other people. People are there in gangs because they want to be cool, to be seen cool to the peer pressure, most specifically.
What is the
What
is the South African survey saying? Isn't it saying poverty? I'm talking on facts. What does it say?
Now people facing the real things which drive people onto gangsters. It's not just being cool or being famous or being seen in the community, but their real problem is people want protection for themselves. Because if only you are not involved into those gangs and then you go onto Nyanga East, for example, those guys in Nyanga East will ask you, where do you come from? And then you come from Nyanga. That will be a big problem for you just because you are in Nyanga East and then you don't stay at Nyanga East. So people join violence just because they want protection for themselves, to protect them. Then they can know that I can enter anywhere just because I have my group.
If you know what you want to in life, then you strive for the best. You won't go other people and take from other people. You know where you're coming from. You know where you want to go. And if whatever obstacle is coming in your way, if you really want to achieve, you are determined to get there, then you will make sure that you are at the top of your game. You don't go around and say that, okay, now I will use that excuse of not having a father at home and say, okay, now I don't have a father. Now I'll go and steal from the neighbors. That's an excuse. You can achieve better things in life without having a parent. I know some people in my family that they never grew up with their fathers and mothers, but there's something, they have achieved a lot in life.
Yeah, it's all about choices. It's what do you think is the best for you? Yourself. Because I'm one of the people who was raised by a single parent, and I've never even... So it's like that. It's about choosing what you think is the best for you.
Poverty is not a full stop of life. You can achieve a lot better things. People who are celebrities now, for instance, there are a lot of celebrities who come from a very underprivileged background because of poverty, but they're eager to get to the top.
We have to remember also, guys, that South Africa is not, it's one of the developing countries. There are countries, let's look, for instance, in Somalia, let's look in some of the countries in Niger, let's look at countries in Africa. There's no violence there, but there's poverty,
Poverty is just an excuse for people to hide behind. They're hiding behind.
Oh, I almost joined gangs, guys, only because my older brother was a gang member. He was a Vura, but now he's old enough. He was a Vura, and then we are looking the same in description. Therefore, many people like to confuse me with him. Therefore, I wanted to join these gangs just to protect myself, just because if their enemies sees me, they think they sees him, then they will do something bad unto me.
My brother was a gang member, I must admit. And one day I remember he was arrested for breaking into a shop in, I can't remember, it was in Lanestown. And he was arrested at that time. And then we were sitting in the living room, and I looked at the door and there was a knock. I opened, and then a group of men wearing black people carrying guns searched the house and searched everything was upside down. They came and asked, where is Lwando? Where is Lwando? They asked over and over again. And then they almost shot my cousin, thinking that he was my brother, but he wasn't. And then he told them that no, he's arrested. And they went out. And the next day, my brother was released, and he came home. And then my mother told him what had happened. And he said, no, don't worry, they will never come back. After a week or so, we heard that 5 members of the people who came into the house were dead. One time he was stabbed, and then his friends went and knocked on the door and then put him outside. Then my father woke up, and then he saw him lying there covered in blood. They took him to KTC, and then where he was put in stitches and covered and given bandages. And then he came home that very same day. my dad gave him a beating he'll never ever forget in his life. Because while he was still in pains, my father beat him very hard. And then they took him, and then he washed, and then they packed his clothes and took him to Eastern Cape, where he studied and done his grade 12. He did his matric, no longer joined gangs, and he's better now. A brother that I look up to. He's my role model now.
That's another wake-up call, guys. It was when I was in the market going with my elder brother. I never realized the thing until when I saw some group of men coming in front of us, carrying pangas and carrying knives, long knives. And then at first I thought, no, this was like those people are going into their places, not unto us. But if you can see into their facial expressing, no, they are coming unto us. You see. And then that came unto a fear into me, you see. And then I ran with the meat, and then my brother was walking here inside alongside me, running with the meat, those guys coming back there. And then my brother had to sacrifice just because he saw that these guys are coming closer unto us now. He had to sacrifice and stand, fight them, just because I'm his little brother. Therefore, he have to protect me. He had to stop and stand, fight those who are close unto us, and then come and run again. That was his mission. But then he lagged over there and got stabbed. He was stabbed 8 times here. He was stabbed 15 times, 8 times at the front, and 6 times over here in the back. That was like a shock unto me, because that man was just stopping and to protect me, and then now he's getting stabbed. Spent the 4 months in the hospital.
Yes, it's true. Maybe if you did see your father beating up your mother, you carry that in mind. You have the inside anger, whereby if ever someone did come in your way, it all burst on him or her. Then that's whereby you get to stab him. All the anger just comes out. If ever you did do anything or anyone did do something to you.
It also depends on, I think, on maturity, how matured you are. Because I remember I grew up. I was groomed by my grandmother and grandfather. What used to happen on month end, my grandfather would come home drunk and with no money. The payday, obviously, mother is expecting the money. And what would happen, he would demand food. And if he's given food, he would like start some fights. Where's the meat? Although he knows that he didn't come. Yes. So that's what happened. And we actually, the whole of the house, we used to teach him a lesson. So the fact of being affected in mind or psychologically, I think it depends on how mature or how old are you, because I think most if you are still on the younger age, I think
it doesn't really plays a very big effect on that.
When I was not just too small, but yeah, I was growing up that time, my father used to beat my mother a lot. Not drunk, but even if my mother didn't cook, my father would beat her. And then they ended up divorcing. And that drove me unto the point whereby if my brother doesn't obey me, or if my brother does anything or didn't do anything which I sent him to do, and I beat him just because I know that my father used to beat my mother, then it's the right thing. If I beat someone, then someone will listen to me.
That is why there are psychologists in some schools, and it's unfortunate in our township schools we don't have any. So I just want to say, like, it helps to take out, to talk to somebody.
My dream is to become a political intern or a cyber.
I have lots of dreams. My first priority dream that I could become a president of this country and change it in a massive way.
My dream is to become a lawyer and fight for the rights of our people.
My dream is to become a public figure. I want to be someone who's a role model. I want to be a public speaker. I want to do TV presenting and radio commentating.
My dream, I just want to go into business, that's all.
My dream is to obtain a doctorate in law and then become a leader of an official party. The party which will bring people back into their lives, which will bring people back to righteousness life and peaceful living.